baby.
Fins up, baby.
Dolphins
Fins up.
I swear, if a certain quarterback is mentioned in the comments, got my beers ready. I'm gonna crack it open.
Or is it a Serbian kid?
Serbian kid,
This looks done. Oh my god, it looks fantastic.
I hate you so much. No, be the man. Gotta be the man. Woo! I'm the man. I said it, and it's reality. All right.
Congratulations.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fins Talk. Uh-oh. I'm already messed up.
You couldn't get the first line right.
Everybody, welcome. Welcome to Fins Talk. Fins Talk.
Real talk.
Fins
Fins talk.
You messed me up, Rob.
It's not Real Talk, Finch Talk.
Me?
It's Real Talk on the
I
bandwagon,
gotta blame
buddy.
somebody. Anyway,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show tonight. We have a special show tonight. Joining us tonight is the Fins Bandwagon with the host of the Fins Bandwagon, Evan Posner. And down below is his co-host, Michael Vogel. Joining us tonight, we're going to have a great show. We're going to talk about the draft. We're going to talk about our Dolphins. And, of course, my co-host, a.k.a. Dolphin Thirsty, Rob Mosley. So to get everything out of the way, make sure everybody likes, subscribes, they share with their friends, their families, their neighbors. And Evan, what you got going on at Fins Bandwagon this week?
Fins Bandwagon? We're not going to have a Fins
Next
Bandwagon
week.
show.
Next week.
Well, next week, hopefully we'll have a few more free agents to talk about. But for tonight, we thought it would be awesome. We didn't want to give you your 29 minutes. We want to give you your full 60 to 90 minutes tonight. And we thought, you want to know what? It's free agency.
Appreciate
It's
that.
draft time.
Yeah.
We just want to have some fun, merge our ideas, and let's talk about what's been happening with the Dolphins over the last 3 days. The official season starts tomorrow, and let's just talk about our different perspectives, and let's merge the real talk with the bandwagon, and let's see what's going on in the NFL. So let's just have a lot of fun tonight.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that, Evan. And I'm just real happy that we got together on a show because I know, so right after the Real Talk Fins Talk show on Tuesday nights, your show follows us, and I immediately turn on to your show,
So
and
do
I get that warm and fuzzy that I need after all that real talk.
And I get the ammunition to rip you guys to shreds.
There you go. But Rob, how you doing, man? What's going on? What do you got going on at DolphinThirsty.com? And I know you have Dolphins Daily. Let us know what you got going on, buddy.
Yeah, everything Miami Dolphins. And today's Tuesday, so a little more Dolphins trivia up there. A couple of David Long question and some stuff like that. After that, I submitted and went online. I said, man, I didn't even ask Jalen Ramsey. So I'm gonna have to ask Jalen Ramsey trivia for next week, I guess. But yeah, I got some fun stuff on there. Everything about the Dolphins, some of our pickups. Later tonight, I'm going to write about Wilt running it back at running back. It's going to be the title. So, it's looking good. It's all fun. Thank you for the plug. And Dolphins Daily, it's like kind of just me going. So I'm going to probably lose that name and come up with something else because that was thirsty and digging. So I'm going to have to come up with something else. So we're going to go, and I'm going to find different time slots later in the.
We'll help you out, buddy. You know that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you. I'm going to find different time slots. So anyway, thank you for the plug.
No problem. Mr. Michael Vogel, what you got going on with the draft? I know you're on the clock with Bobby and Britt and all those other great folks. What do you got going on?
About the same, man. We're just, I love this time of year, digging into the draft, trying to find, some of those late round guys that may surprise some people, down the line. And then just enjoying the content that we're putting together on Tuesdays and Fridays and every other day too, with the rest of the network. So yeah, man, just enjoying the new hobby of podcasting with you guys, and it's been great so far.
It's therapy, guys.
It is.
Can I just give one plug? Nothing to do with Dolphins today.
No.
No, not a plug.
Go
I want to laugh.
Go ahead.
Isn't it ironic that the Raiders, I just had to say this today. I didn't throw a plug on Twitter today. Isn't it phenomenal that they signed the backup quarterback, the Raiders, today? They signed Jacoby Myers. They were so impressed with his throwing ability with the Patriots last playoff game that they signed him to be their wide receiver. How ironic that he's going to a team where the last throw he threw, his last play, was giving them a win. It was phenomenal.
I know, that is funny. I thought the same thing.
It's hilarious. When I saw that, I fell off my chair.
All right, well let's talk about the main event tonight. Let's talk about the free agency that's been hopping in the Twitter Spaces and everything. So let's talk about our first free agency, or actually it was a trade. What do you? I'm going to start with Evan, and then we'll go down to Rob, and then Michael. We'll get your takes on that. So, Evan, what's your take on obtaining Jalen Ramsey, and what did you think about the compensation and all that good stuff?
Well, I talked a little bit about in the breaking news show with Bobby because we jumped on right away together.
Yeah.
I was very happy with the move because I think that's a Vic Fangio decision trade. That he feels that's what his defense needs. And knowing that this team has been successful having two great cover corners, I think the fact that last year, the fact that Xavier Howard was stretched a little thin and on an island on his own, to go get a younger, younger guy who has been an all-pro, multiple years, multiple-time Pro Bowler, is a even though he gave up quite a few touchdowns with the Rams last year, the Rams had a lost season last year. He's a Super Bowl winner. He has experience. He wanted to come to Miami. Mm-hmm. He's been praying about it. It's the fact that he wants to come to Miami, that he wants to be part of this defense. He's going to be a captain on this team. The fact that he wants to be here. When I saw the compensation, I laughed. I go, "You're giving up a third rounder, one of your third round picks, and Hunter Long, who caught one pass in 2 years." It's a little hilarious. So to go get him. And then to be able to restructure it, I was very, very happy because the one thing I'm going to talk about on the show a little bit is last year they ran it back with their defense and it didn't work. Now they have an experience. I said when they signed Fangio to be the DC, I said he was going to be the number one free agent we actually signed because he's going to transform this defense, and they're basically turning them into a stout top 5 defense next year. And to go get Jalen Ramsey was a first piece of the puzzle. And I'm very happy that they're filling up holes on the defense. There's still areas they always have to improve on. We're going to talk about that, but it makes me happy that star elite players. Remember what I said at the beginning of last season when I first started the bandwagon? We couldn't name one elite player on this team. We have an elite all-pro tackle. We have 2 elite wide receivers. We have an elite corner. Now we have 2 elite corners. We have an elite defensive lineman. We have an elite edge rusher. We have guys who literally are studs at all their positions. Now, do we have holes? Sure, we're going to talk about them. But to add a piece like that, there's nothing wrong with adding star power to your team. So I'm very happy.
I agree. Rob, what's your take? And let me just hold you up right there for a second. Let me welcome Ender and Cap for Life. I see you in there. Thank you guys for joining the show tonight. Appreciate y'all. We couldn't do it without you. Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, well, he said, what more can you say? Very good trade. It's bringing his star player at a fair price. I mean, Hunter Long, he's caught one pass in his 2 seasons. And it's only appeared like in 16 games across 2 seasons. That's between the 2 seasons. And so that's basically, he wasn't going to be a contributor this year anyway. And the 3rd round pick, you're not going to get a better 3rd round talent at that. You know me, I love building through the draft. It's my favorite way to build a team. But since we're in this win now mode, you're not going to get a better player to come in and contribute to a winning team in the 3rd round. Like Jalen Ramsey's going to day 1. He's going to be a big difference maker. So what's not like, and they reworked his contract again. Eventually the bills are going to come due, but for now they're kicking that down the road. So it works for next year to get us under that cap. And there's nothing not to like. It's a good move.
Yeah. Michael?
I don't understand if you're the Rams how you make this trade. Like I just like a 3rd round pick and a tight end that has 1 catch. Like I don't know how that is attractive to them in any I guess you just need picks at this point. They said F the picks for so long. I think it's a steal for Miami.
He is.
I think it's exactly what Fangio needed, and it adds a piece to the puzzle that makes us better than we were last year. This time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with all of what you said, mostly there. But there's one thing that I really like, and this isn't just on Jalen Ramsey that we got acquired, but it's David Long, the linebacker as well. These guys are character. They're good character guys. And it looks to me like the Miami Dolphins are trying to put surround our organization with good character guys. And if you read any of their tweets, David Long and Jalen Ramsey,
they had lunch together, dinner together.
But I mean, they're just good guys, good old wholesome, down to earth, family first, good value type of guys. And I like that for an organization. That's got to help out an organization a lot. And we need it in this organization.
We need a foundational piece. And I just want to keep on, I mentioned this on the breaking news show as well about it. Think about this. The players want to come play here because we brought in Tyreek Hill and because we're building a foundation. Jalen Ramsey, David Long, all these people are coming. They know who is on this team. They know they're not dumb. They know who we're weak. They know, but they still believe this team will have the foundation to be able to find those pieces. And even with all the stuff that went on last year with the tampering, losing picks, and all that kind of stuff, people still believe in this team. People believe we have the foundational team. And when you have Tyreek Hill tweeting and praising, like when we're going to talk about the running backs we re-signed, when he's praising them and happy to have his brothers back, when you have your leader, you know who your true captain is, and you know why people are coming here. None of these guys are coming here if Cheetah's not here. So the foundation of that piece really made the biggest difference. So you want to know what? It's a good time. It's fantastic. Like Jalen Ramsey's not coming here if the star power on the offense is not there. Period.
But do you think that he comes here if the defensive coordinator's not here?
They don't have a relationship, but if Boyer's here, no, he's not coming here.
See, that's another one of my things is you gotta like the fit that you're.
I also think McDaniel's personality. Some fans don't think he's hardcore enough, but I think reputations around the league that he's a very good coach to play for, and I think his reputation, McDaniel's helping a lot too.
Well, I think it's a comp. Oh, good. I'm sorry, Rob.
No, I was just gonna say that. And I think it's a combination of things. Like it all started maybe getting Tyreek Hill, but then also McDaniel has a really good reputation, and it's just that league spreads. I mean, I know we all want results on the field, but they were like the number 2 best team to work for from a player's perspective in the whole NFL. I think they only fell behind the Vikings. So
we also like to talk about the talking heads, the media, and all that. They talked for years from 2018 during the Gase years, the Flow years. The feeling coming out of that room and the feeling coming out there was not a sense of unity. It was a very disjointed, very uncomfortable locker room. They are a family. They are behind each other.
I mean, yes, it's like
they are foundation.
Awesome.
Like no, if I were a team, the team 2 years ago, the team 3 years ago, the team 5 years ago, going into Buffalo in the playoff game with your third string quarterback, they literally were a play away from winning that game. Like with nobody, they were injured. The Toronto Armstead was put together with duct tape. Xavier Howard was walking around with 2 bad groins. They were broken. And they still gave 1,000,000%. Like they're very tight. David Long is coming here because Jalen Ramsey is here. Like there's a huge connection there. And to get a linebacker for 2 years at $11 million, did you go watch him go sideline to sideline for Tennessee?
Oh no, he's good. I'll be honest. I hadn't seen much Tennessee football the past few years, other than the games that the Dolphins got blown out against. I haven't seen much.
He ain't missing tackles.
But no, he's not. Now I've read up because Barry Jackson, to his credit, nailed him. He had him as a Dolphins target weeks ago, so I looked him up, and I was impressed. I mean, outside of the injury bug, which the Dolphins always seem to have to say, but when he's healthy and he's on the field, he's a difference maker on the defense. And to get him at that price is amazing. And he should be able to, come in. I know Vrabel took a little bit, the Tennessee coach took a shot at him saying, oh, he's one of those repeat offenders that getting hurt, but the thing is, he can come here. Hopefully he works out. He's going to be able to get those hamstrings strong. That's it. It's always been his hamstrings, soft tissue issues he's had. Yeah. So, hopefully he comes in, stays healthy. It's a great deal. I love it the more I read about him.
But also, one thing that's going to make a very big difference, maybe, Steve, I want to give your opinion on it, is I was thinking about the scheme of the defense. I think the one thing that his defense is going to do, and I wanted you to get your opinion, guys, everyone, Vic Fangio's defense is less strenuous than a zero blitz type of defense and playing man. Playing zone is a more relaxed team feel. So I think that's going to. What do you feel of the fact that people who are injury prone, in the sense that David Long's had injuries in the past, so Xavier Howard, and if Needham comes back and Troy Williams, like how do you feel that the defensive scheme is going to be more beneficial to the injuries? Because we suffered so many injuries on defense. So do you think that Vic Fangio's scheme is going to be helpful to keeping our players on the field?
I hope so.
I hope so, but my thoughts are
like zone over man. I mean,
I honestly don't think it's going to make a difference as far as injuries goes. Injuries are going to happen. It's football. You're going to get hit. You're going to get hurt. Mm-hmm. So you're gonna turn your foot the wrong way and mess up your ankle, whatever. But no, I don't think that's going to be much of a factor. But going back to what you said about Jalen Ramsey and David Long coming here, and Rob mentioned it too, it's a combination. I don't just think it's a combination of the players, but I think it's a combination of the coaching staff. I think it's a combination of Vic Fangio and McD. That's what I think. But no, I don't.
Violet has a question for us real quick, Stu.
By the way, you know who Violet is, right?
No.
It's Josh Kimmel.
Oh, it is?
It is?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, my.
Okay.
All right.
Just FYI, didn't mean to let the cat out of the bag, but that's Josh.
No comment.
That's Josh Kimmel.
All right, go ahead.
On a Sunday, guys.
I'm okay with running back with Mozart. He's okay. I mean, yes, I know some of the guys wanted the big, sexy name, but he's another guy that you got to say, if he stays healthy, he can contribute. I'm more of
They're not done at running back. They're not going to run back. They're missing one running back, so.
Okay, go ahead, Evan. You say they're missing one running back?
Because last year they ran it back with 4 or 5. Right. We don't know what they're going to do with Ingold. Ingold could be cut. It could be released. Something can happen with him. But the reason they brought back Mostert and
Wilson,
Jeff Wilson, Mostert, if you look at his averages per carry, it was close to 5 yards per carry. Mm-hmm. They just didn't keep on using him. But if you ever looked at most of his runs, most of his first initial runs on first down were going for a first down. Like he was getting 10, 11 yards, and then he was getting piecemeal. He just wasn't consistent. And Jeff Wilson, if you go combine his stats with what happened in San Francisco, he had over 1,000 yards rushing. So the guy did the job. So I think they have a balanced attack. And the thing is that, and I want to ask Michael also, and then you guys can go around. Like I have a feeling either they may still make a big trade, or they're going to go get a stout running back in the draft. But I want to ask my buddy Michael, what do you think they should do? What are your thoughts on the two running it back with those two? That must be a McDaniel thing, because I want to get into the McDaniel thing after about the signings. Yeah. What are your thoughts about the running backs coming back, and possibly what do you think they should do? Draft or go still find another veteran?
I've said multiple times that I think this is a deep running back class, and I think there's gems to be had there. It's do they get it right? It feels like when they try and draft running backs and linemen, we can't hit it the way we need to. But there are plenty of running backs, that you can get in those later rounds that I feel I hate tying up money into a free agent running back when they're the ones getting hit. You can bring in what's his name from Tennessee, Henry, but the amount of wear and tear on his body already, is he going to last the whole time? And how's that going to complement what we're doing in the passing game? Do you need that type of a body, or do we need more the Mostert body?
You made some good points there, Michael. Now I was one for advocating for Derrick Henry. I think we need that piece in the back there. And if you do that, I know he would have cost a little money, but if you do that, then maybe you don't have to build so much on the line, because Bobby Melendez made the point the other day, and I didn't know this myself, because I had questions on our O-line as far as running backs go. Well, our line was ranked, I think it was 24th, and our O-line. And in Tennessee's O-line was 32nd. And look at the production that Henry achieved, in Tennessee. Now, I'm not saying that we didn't need to add pieces to our O-line, because I really don't even have much to say about Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg. I mean, I don't understand why we're running back with those guys.
We're not going to.
I hope not. But
We're not going to.
But the
Well,
bottom
we're
line
running
is,
back with them, but they won't be the only guys. I mean,
No, they
Well,
won't be
I
started. They
understand
won't
it.
be started. They won't
what
be
I'm
started.
saying is, we better get some production. We better get some good
Production.
above average,
Right.
linemen.
because I remember
you know,
Miles
to
Gaskin was
compete.
on the
I don't want to
roster
get
last year,
somebody
so-
that's hold on. I don't want to get somebody that's on the same level as Austin Jackson, or maybe a little bit better, little
Yeah.
teeny bit better of
Right.
Liam Eichenberg, and they say, oh well, he beat him out, but he didn't really beat out anybody.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. So I want to get somebody that's going to challenge those guys and that are above average. Let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, if they're we don't need a 9. And I've said this about 202 as well. As far as the consistency goes, but anyway, we won't get into that. But what I'm saying is that from a scale of 1 to 10, we don't need a 9, we don't need a 10, maybe a 6 or a 7. Someone in that neighborhood. Because,
by the way, the Chargers released.
He's stealing my
Go,
thunder.
Rob. Go, Rob.
No, the
No,
Chargers.
you go,
released-
Rob. You're more beautiful than me. Go.
No, I don't know which one you're talking about. Are you talking about the Chargers releasing starting guard Matt Feeler, or are you talking about
who's played right tackle and left guard and right?
Right,
tackle
yeah.
And left guard.
So, all right. So we both had the same thought, but I didn't want to interrupt my man Steve. So,
No, you're fine.
No, but let me just
But
remind
they say
everyone.
he's worked with the Dolphins offensive.
I'm used to it. I'm used
He's
to getting
worked
into
with
it.
Frank Smith.
But
in
I
the
want to
past.
ask the question because he brought up running back. But one thing I want to mention one thing though is that do you guys remember? Do you know where we're talking about how stout David Long is and how great he's been? Do you know where he was picked as a linebacker?
Thank you,
know
Cap.
what round he was picked in his draft?
Who?
David Long.
Oh yeah, 6th round draft.
6th round, and the guy look what he's doing as a 6th round guy. So my question to all of you, to Michael, running back, 6th round. If we had an equivalency, I brought up the guy from Texas, but who's the running back you're looking at in the later rounds who could actually not be a Gerard Dokes, a guy who could actually come in next year and be a complimentary guy on the Dolphins?
Yeah, now that you put me on the spot, I can't remember his name. Ibrahim, I think it's Ibrahim from Minnesota. I think he's a good one. And then I think there's the backup for
Rashawn
Texas.
Johnson. Is Rashawn?
Yeah.
Is it Rashawn Johnson? Michael, Bobby, go in my ear and tell me his name. He knows his name off the top of his head.
Rashawn Johnson from Texas. You're talking about?
Yeah. Rashawn Johnson.
Cameron
There we go.
Peoples,
Yeah.
Cameron Peoples,
the kid
Hunter
from
Luque.
Appalachian State. Yeah.
Yeah. There's quite a few guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's quite a
there's
few.
good backs.
But,
I like
but
the guy
let's
Chase. I think Chase Brown out of
Illinois.
Out of
Chase
Illinois.
Brown
I
out
like
of
Chase.
Illinois.
Yeah, I like him too. He's a
Hey,
good
Mike.
fit for the scheme.
Hey, Michael, what do you think about Zach Charbonnet or Cabernet?
Oh, I like him too.
Charbonnet,
Yeah,
Charbonnet.
second rounder. He's going to be gone the second, third round.
I
For
like
sure.
I like him too.
Unfortunately, I think you're right, but I like him.
But I'm really convinced, guys, because I want to bring it up. I want to get your feedback on it. So we talked about Mostert and Wilson. Honestly, guys, they're much better to think about it. They're much better than what we had at the beginning of last year in Edmonds and Mostert, and Matt Edmonds was dropped again. Then we had Ahmed. Ahmed did his job last year.
Yeah.
Honestly, and I want to bring this up now, and I want to bring it up, and then we'll talk about other places. In all these signings, we see the Twitterverse. We see people going after the Dolphins have made very smart signings. There's still pieces they need to go through. But what I want to give everyone a perspective on, and I want to ask you guys this important question. Do we all believe in Mike McDaniel as our head coach and Vic Fangio as our DC? Do we truly believe in these guys?
I'll answer it and say, hell yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
You do, right?
Yeah.
None of
Absolutely.
these decisions on Chris Greer is a unified decision. He has to involve Ross for cap space, for giving bonuses. He has to get the ear of McKenzie and Allen, who could be GMs in any other team. McDaniel is choosing to bring these guys back.
Yep.
And the other areas of Fangio bringing on the defense. The other area, and also one thing I want to bring. So for me, a lot of the signings that have happened have to involve a unified decision maker.
Yeah.
So if we're here, people are ripping Greer that he hasn't signed an alignment. In the end, they're going to sign someone because I want to remind everyone, this is not Matt Applebaum anymore. Even though Frank Smith is going to oversee, then that's where the connection with Feeler is going to be because Frank Smith coached him with the Chargers.
Yeah.
Butch Barry is not a come around the block guy. He's not a newbie like Applebaum. He's not gonna have time for Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg and to develop them. They're gonna be there. They're gonna get chances the same way we're stuck with Noah. They're gonna be on the team, but they're going to go find pieces, like the same way they went to go get a Brandon Shell. So in the end, I think we just have to remember that the one thing about this team is they all have a unified goal of winning. So they're not going to leave a hole there, because I think they've learned from the Bengals. The Bengals got as far as they did last season, and what ended up crapping the bed for them in the Super Bowl and the AFC Championship last year, their O-line. They're not going to leave those two things to chance. So for me, I just don't think they want to go bust the bank on that, because they spent money on Connor Williams. They spent money on Teron Armstead. Hunt's going to get a contract in a year or two. So they might, and Eric Fisher's still on the roster, even though he's not there. He's still injured, but he could be on the roster as well. So I think they're going to go get people. I just think those aren't their priorities. So right now, O-line and tight end. So I also want them veer in. Do you guys believe that the tight end market is 100% going to be in the draft at this point?
That's curious because I know the tight ends were weak at. I think they may get one veteran, not a big name veteran, but get one veteran that can run block at minimum and then draft one. That's what I think. I think they're going to do a veteran, no particular name. They're not. Don't think it's not going to be the Cowboys guys Schultz. It's not going to be something like that. I think it's going to be more lower key tight end.
Would you give up Waller? Would you have gone to get Waller for a third round pick?
No.
He's injury prone, or you don't think he fits the scheme? I'm just asking it out there because the Giants got him for pretty much nothing.
I don't think he's as good as blocker as, say, a Schultz or Foster Moreau or.
I just have memories of him killing us in that game.
I mean, what do you think, Michael? Is he you think he's a better blocker than those two that I just mentioned, or any of the other tight ends that are on market right now?
I don't.
Other than Gesicki.
Yeah. I mean,
he's going to the Raiders.
Gesicki. But I don't know that,
what up, G-Man?
The durability issue, right, was there. And I don't know that he was as good as blocker as we would like. I mean, hell, he caught the ball all over us last time they played it. So he's definitely the pass-catching tight end. But I think in McDaniel's scheme, you've got to be able to block and then be able to release also out of that blocking scheme. And that's just something that Gesicki can't do. Or he never – wanted to do. I don't know what, I don't know. I mean, if I'm in the pros and I'm a tight end and I didn't do very well in that in college, I'm going to make sure that's what I'm working on, because it seems like it's like a lost art. So I definitely see them going tight end in the draft and like you're saying, picking up one of these lower name tight ends.
In the draft? In the draft?
No. I think we get. I think we pick up a tight end and then also sign in.
Very high on.
Yeah.
Okay. And going to your point, Evan, about the O-line.
Yeah.
Well, you're correct. It is a priority now. If we're not going to get a big name running back like a Derrick Henry or Cook or someone like that, the O-line better be a priority now. We're going to be in trouble.
Go ahead.
Let me just say one thing. I'm sorry. I just want to say, we're running it back with Mozart and Wilson, but I would not sleep on the Dolphins.
Whether that's
break it up, Bobby.
Yeah,
break
sorry.
It up
some doofus was calling me as I was
me.
talking. No, but I was saying I would not sleep on the Dolphins trading for a back. I think they are monitoring the Cook situation. I think this gives them more leverage not to do a move. This gives them leverage to say, look, we don't have to give you anything that's going to hurt us. Take it or leave it, because we got our backs. But again, and talk about tight end, I think it's more than likely the Dolphins will draft the tight end with that 51st overall pick.
Yeah, that's
Really?
The way they played out, I think it's more than likely they'll take one with that 51st.
Man, I hope they get Darnell Washington.
He's not going to be there. Tucker Kraft is my guy if you want to be reasonable.
I think Tucker Kraft. Darnell, I would love Darnell, but I think Tucker Kraft is a likely pick right there.
Who you can read about on DolphinThirsty.com.
Where do you think I got him, buddy? Where do you think I got him, buddy?
Yeah.
Somebody's been reading Dolphins.
I read
Thirsty.com.
I read Dolphins Thirsty daily.
Oh, thank you.
Excellent.
I'm going to try to get more stuff out there. Like I said, I'm a one-man show, and I do it for
We're
fun.
going to the quarterback in a minute, Mike White, but I want to just mention, to have a running back room, it's costing us, under $10 million for these running backs?
How you doing, G-Man?
Also, I want to make a very interesting point. If you look at what the Chiefs did in running game. I know it's a different team. Pacheco wasn't a high round pick.
Yeah,
Seven.
but listen,
Seven's
wait a
up.
minute.
No,
wait a
let
minute.
me
I got to
finish.
stop you right there. I got
Let
to
me
stop you.
finish. No, let me go for a second.
He's got Mahomes, okay? That's not a good
Let me finish.
comparison.
You know what I'm going to say? Boston Scott, Miles Sanders were not
Right.
players that people were drafting high.
Right.
Fournette was a high draft pick, but him winning the Super Bowl, he wasn't a stud. He didn't last in Jacksonville. A lot of the teams, similar to elite quarterbacks, there aren't elite running backs. And when's the last time an elite running back, when the Rams won, they hardly played Cam Akers. He hardly saw the field.
Right. Didn't they have Todd Gurley at one time?
Todd Gurley hardly played. He hardly played the Super Bowl game. Also, that they lost 13-3.
Right. He was
Well, running backs are a
injured, I think.
luxury. They're
he was an
utilized in
injury-prone
schemes,
career.
but it's a passing league. That's the thing that people are realizing. But even though there's a lot of running games,
Yeah.
why do you think Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, Austin Eckler, people don't want to give big money to running backs because the lifespan of a running back is so small. They feel like they can in and out. And also, we have to remember Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel, in all the places he's been, has never had a stout running back, even when he was the running game coordinator. He always wants to go by committee. He always wants to look at the scheme and where he can utilize a pounder. So in the end, I think the makeup of the running game, even though he was a prisoner of the pass game because he had Tyreek Hill, as our El Jefe likes to say, but at the same time, this is a Mike McDaniel signing. These two running it back is a Mike McDaniel thing. This is not a Chris Greer thing.
100%.
This is a Mike McDaniel thing. So we have, and remember, I'm his harshest critic, but I said I would give him the opportunity to build this team. So the ironic thing about it, but I want to say so far, what are your thoughts, all of you, on the fact that they're pretty much in the first 48 hours that they're doing the reverse? Last year, it was offense focused and run it back with the defense. This year, it's fix the defense, run it back with the offense. As an initial, what are your thoughts on all that, each one of you? At the initial game plan in the first 48 hours. I guess
Go ahead, Michael. Go ahead, Michael.
It makes sense, right? It makes sense to do it that way. You spent a lot of time and focus last year on the offense to get the key pieces around you as the offensive play caller. Now you've got a stud defensive coordinator in there. Who are the people that you need to make your scheme work and whatever, however, whether it's the 3-4, the 4-3, or, nickel or dime or whatever we're looking at, I feel like, McDaniel has his guys that he needs to run it back. And then now we're going to focus on the defense. And now you don't have to win games 31-27. Now you can win them 31-14.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
14, nice having a nice defense to be able to, kind of put the clamps down and not have to have all these shootouts every week.
And not have blitz all the time and not have to blitz
exactly.
all the time. It's
3rd and 18, and we go blitz everybody, and there's 6 guys open in the
Chargers game is one that kills me the
Excuse
most.
me, what was the game we had? Where was the game? I can't remember, Rob, that they had 6 guys lined up against the end zone.
Yeah, that was his Chargers. That was his Chargers.
No, it was an outdoor game. Where was it?
No, that wasn't the Chargers game, was it?
It was not the Packer game. What game was it where he had literally 7? Maybe Bobby remembers where he had 7 guys.
Was it
on the end zone.
Buffalo? Was it Buffalo?
Maybe Buffalo at home or on the way.
Something like that.
It was a Chargers game, and it
was a day game. He literally had he was 3rd and 17
Yes.
with a couple going into the half. We gave up a touchdown, and he literally had he had everyone back. I've never seen anything like it. But 49ers, there we go. 49ers. Thank you, Anthony.
G-Man.
It was one of those West Coast games.
By the way,
G-Man made a good
G-Man, you
made a
have
good
an
point.
open invite to the bandwagon because I need to get you on the bandwagon. Honestly, you spend an hour with me and Michael, we're going to flip your script, buddy.
But he's right about the offensive line. If Armstead goes down, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
But Armstead's going to rehab. Armstead's going to be a lot smarter next year.
My question is how many different line combinations did we have week to week?
Oh, God.
That's what that's
no consistency.
As an offensive line coach myself.
Yeah, good point.
That prides
brutal.
offense, we want to count on Armstead, and I'll gladly take him the games that he's in there, but we've got to have a plan so we're not every game isn't a different combination. As long as
I agree with you 100%. You can have a drop off anytime, but you can't have that drastic of a drop off. You're gonna have a drop off when you got an all pro caliber left tackle getting hurt, but you shouldn't go to a minor league football guy coming in to replace him.
Exactly.
So you need some solid, And as good as Brandon Shell was, he wasn't good on the left side. He's good on the right side.
Yeah, he's
Right.
good on the right side. He did a solid job.
I wouldn't mind bringing him back that'd be our backup, to the right.
Yes.
I would want a starting left.
And that's what I
tackle.
mean. That's what I mean, Rob. We don't want Brandon Shell competing with Austin Jackson for a tackle spot.
Eric Fisher,
I want somebody.
think, is their backup.
All right, maybe Eric Fisher if he gets a good year of training, and I'm sure he's working out right now. Maybe. Yeah, that would be. I agree for sure.
I'll bring up the point before about Poyer, and then I want to talk about Mike White a little bit because I'm surprised Rob didn't rip me a new one about my thoughts about particular quarterbacks. But I'll tell you, think about why I'm bringing that up, Rob. But because the Cap asked about Poyer, and everyone's posting on Twitter. You mentioned, Steve, that you don't think we should get Poyer, but if he did a reasonable contract, and Vic Fangio's defense is very much about cover two, having two very strong safeties, and maybe bringing Brandon Jones, who's more of has a linebacker kind of feel, a little more than he is a safety. What are your hesitations? If Poyer comes in a reasonable, similar to Long's contract, because he really wants to be with the Dolphins, no tax state, and warm weather. What is your hesitation with him? And then maybe Michael and Rob, give me your thoughts on Poyer.
Well, if anybody is maybe doesn't fit in the Fangio scheme, it's Brandon Jones. So I don't know. I just think we're pretty much set with what we have in a defensive backfield now. We've got Kohu, you've got Needham, you've got Trill Williams coming back. X is back there. Now we have Jalen Ramsey. So, and we got Jafon Holland back there. So I think we're set there. But hey, if they bring him in, I'm not going to be mad about it. It's just my own 2 cents. I think we got enough in, and I think they can put that money somewhere else. Maybe like the offensive line.
Yeah, of course the offensive line, but I would like Poyer. He was one of the guys I was hoping to when the whole thing started, but that's more.
We got to stop falling in love with these players.
I know.
Oh, Steve,
but anyone to hurt Buffalo.
Everybody falls in love with these players. Come on, man.
Anyone to hurt Buffalo, though. Michael, what are your thoughts on
Poyer? Go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
I was just saying, but that's it. Like he said, it's kind of a double blow. We get a good player, and then it takes away from Buffalo. That's my reasoning too. And he's a solid, good football player. Another local guy. I'm loyal to my South Florida.
There you go. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, there you go.
Michael, can we ask Bobby? Bobby, can you bring up the question before we ask about Poyer? I want to sidetrack.
Good points, Rob.
For Michael. Michael, answer this question. Yeah. This is a general question. I've noticed that the offensive line in general in the NFL tends to have more injuries than D-line. Why is it? Why do you think that is, Michael? From your experience being involved in football for all these years, what are your thoughts?
A lot of
good question, Anthony.
A lot of the offensive line issues come from the different defensive fronts and defensive schemes and being able to pick up twists and stunts, and then also as you're blocking a guy, and the running back gets hit from behind, taking your knees out from there. You can't. There's only so much you can do, when with your eyes forward. You can't ever catch the stuff in the back. So that's a lot of times you're getting those knee shots in the sides, and then also, just kind of the different injuries and stuff that happen, with the different fronts, the twists and stuff that are coming. And you're not seeing it, not being able to pick it up, or But again, that's coaching and film work. If they're stunting and all this other stuff, being able to pick that stuff up without, and you just got to tell your running backs, man, if you go down, stay away from the offensive line, stay away from their knees. So that's kind of my experiences as an offensive line coach. Those are the ankles and the knees are bad about that. When they're just getting rolled up on, and it's not even not necessarily a running back. I mean, how many times have you watched? I saw on the Dolphins a couple times where the guard would go step back, and as he steps back,
right,
stepping on the tackle's foot, and the tackle goes down. And those are just unfortunate things, and they, and also the guy in front of him on defense. Is that guard all wigged out because it's Ndamukong Suh there, Aaron Donald, and he's stepping too quick and not taking the right step or misstepping. Those are all things that can kind of get in an offensive lineman's head to be able to, to kind of get him out of his game a little bit, and just something like that gets your mind off focus, and then your basics, your skills that you're supposed to have, you're not thinking of what you're technique is supposed to be.
Right.
Right. Because you're in
Right.
your head. So a lot of that stuff, you just got a lot of it. Again, comes to film work. Like guys, you can tell the guys that are in there watching film, and they're able to catch tendencies of anticipate what the defense is doing. So,
like a Zach Thomas.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Exactly.
But anyway, I want to acknowledge all of our folks in the chat here. We got Anthony Mansano. He's a regular. Thank you, Anthony. Always like you in here commenting. G-Man, Crazy Auntie, Pappy Video. Who else we got?
John!
Big John
GM
Santos, the man.
Caps up there.
So just remember, folks, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, your families, your neighbors. And
I'm
we're
gonna give
trying
a
to
dig though. You know what's interesting?
Go ahead.
We
Go ahead.
we go to all the shows on the network.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot it out there, and I hope they hear it. How come the other people on the other shows don't come here? I gotta give a shout out to Josh Kimmel, but Stager, Lagasse, all of you, get on the show and make a comment. Rip us to shreds. Come on, make us feel bad.
So, Steve, I know it's not
Wingate,
the
come
sexy
on, guys.
topic, but backup quarterback. What do you think of the Mike White?
No,
move?
I'm leading into that. So,
okay.
guys, I want to mention that. I want you guys to talk because I'm not talking about this. But I'm surprised I wasn't ripped for this. I said I would never want them to take another quarterback that's played who's from Florida because that's 3 years in a row.
I know.
Or the New York Jets.
Yeah.
I think they did that on purpose. But people were freaking out. 2 years, $16 million. But it's really like only $4 million a year, max $16 million.
Yeah.
It's really under $4 million a year. It's only $1 million in base salary. So all of you, I'm not going to say a word because I'm a Gate Florida quarterback. I'm okay with the signing though. What were your initial thoughts when you saw the signing, and what are your based on the contract and everything how it's set up now? Rob, Steve, everyone, just talk about what your thoughts are on the signing of the backup quarterback, and do you feel he's an upgrade to Skylar Thompson?
Yeah, when the contract first came out, I was like, whoa, 16 million. But then the real money started coming out, and that's fine. And then though you hear Barry Jackson again, going back to him, he was tweeting out that the Dolphins did talk to agents of some of these guys, probably Heineke and all these guys, but the Dolphins weren't willing to match. They didn't allow, they didn't design that much money for the backup quarterback position. So they were out of the market. And I guess Mike White came in at the price they were looking at. And that's how we fell into him.
Mm-hmm. I'll go next. I'm not really excited about the signing. He's just a backup. The contract is good. I don't see anything special about him. I honestly, I think he's just another Teddy Bridgewater.
Is he better than Bridgewater?
Yes.
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Yes.
I think he.
No, I
and
don't.
Anyway, what did they say? They wanted competition for the quarterback room. Some people took that as,
he doesn't wear gloves. He doesn't wear two gloves.
It's a competition for Skylar. It's a competition for
That's what I'm saying.
Skylar.
I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Teddy Bridgewater had he and Tyreek had more yards in 2 games than.
All right, Steve. Let's not get off.
Just saying, don't get me riled up.
Mike.
Don't get me. I got some ammo here, okay?
I know, but they said when they said quarterback competition, I told you right away they're talking about the backup, bringing in Skylar. So I think this is going to be. I think there'll be a real backup quarterback competition. It'll be between Skylar and Mike White to see who's the number 2. We know one away.
No, I agree. I agree
number
with
1,
you on
no
that.
matter what. And I think there'll be a fair competition. But I think Mike White would probably win that competition. But I think it'll be a fair competition, and that's the competition.
Michael, what are your thoughts on Mike White?
Well, like somebody just said, it is what it is. Like I don't not real high, not real low. My question is do you think because of the Dolphins last year and the concussion issue, do you think they're gonna be or make a play to where they're gonna allow more quarterbacks on game day rosters? Because
they have 3 starting no matter what.
Yeah, because
they're starting 3 games.
In the same game, you had 2 quarterbacks go down with concussions, and it's like, let's see.
I think I would do Skylar Thompson. No, I would do what they did with Brissett, and they do it a lot in the CFL in Canada. I would if it's 4th and 1 and they need to sneak, they're never using Tua. They're going to bring in Skylar, or they're going to bring in Mike White to take the sneak. They're not going to give Tua the opportunity to go into the trenches. Are you kidding me?
I thought we weren't going to bring up that name.
I'm not. I'm not talking about him. I'm just saying I'm not bringing him in to do
Shame on you, Evan. You brought it up.
That's one demerit.
Oh, no! Anyway, So overall, right now, let's talk about but also, guys, the key number one thing I liked about the contract is that you're spending $5 million really less than you pay Teddy Bridgewater, and that money can go to the offensive line or go to a tight end, right?
Hey, let me answer Pappy Video's
Go ahead.
question here, or his comment. He says Skylar has a year in the system, so he may have a head start. Yeah, that's a good point, Pappy. But you got to remember, Mike White played in a similar system with the Jets.
What up, Ben?
But I definitely give I personally, my own personal opinion, I think Skylar is a little bit ahead of the game. Not because of the system, but just because of his upside, his potential.
Yeah.
That's
the cost of the quarterback. But I just want to make sure. I want to make a point to everybody. This season, for a team as stacked as we are in many positions, we're going to have one of the cheapest quarterback trios in the NFL.
Hopefully, they won't play like it.
That's true.
By the way, you know what's also the crazy stat? That our starter is the youngest of the three.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, he is younger than Scott. Yep.
Let me make mention of this real quick, since you brought it up. Again, you're gonna get me riled up. No,
go.
No, I think honestly, I think the Miami Dolphins made the best decision on giving to the fifth year option.
Yeah.
He comes at it. He's still playing really kind of on like a rookie contract, and I like that, and I also like. This was probably a really good decision. This is one of the best decisions I think they've made in a long time as far as an organizational standpoint is they put all that crap out with all the national media. They put that fire out,
and they
they stepped on that. So that was a good move for them. And you know what? I think it was a real good move on them and keeping to it because then that gives them options as well, and they're not going to be in the hole as much.
No, I agree. And the backup quarterback became expensive. So, it's just going around the NFL. So, and the Dolphins are, under restraints, according to Barry Jackson, when it came to the Poyer's contract. So, so that goes out to all the positions. So, they are saving. They haven't spent like a drunken seller this off season, like a lot of people.
They've been smart with their money. They've been very smart with their money.
Yeah, they've been smart with their money. They're not throwing money at one shiny Ferrari for the parking lot because Jalen Ramsey may be that Ferrari, but they got him at a good price for this year under contract.
No, but remember, even with him, at the end of next season, Howard might be gone and Ramsey might be there, right? So Howard, I think, can come off the books.
Good point. He might be gone. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be gone this year.
I know.
Yeah.
No, not right. At the end of next season. He could be gone. You never know. He's a trade piece also. But Michael, what are your thoughts overall on the overall structure of the quarterback position, the trio there?
Yeah, I agree because now you instead of waiting it out and then paying them a shit ton of money next year. Now you've got 2 years that you can, build the team, not just around him, but necessarily build the team in general. So I thought it was wise to kind of put it all to bed early, give him the 5th year option, still have a decent amount of money left to be able to build around him. Look at the freaking Giants are stuck with Jones now.
I know, that's ridiculous.
I didn't think he was
Carr, $40 million.
Yeah. He look, Jones came on strong this year. He's improved a lot and he showed what he can do, but not $40 million.
Of course, if they had picked up his 5th year option, he'd be playing on that, and then they would have another year to decide.
Right, exactly.
That's what they should have done.
Yeah, I know.
And was that decision made before Dayball, before they hired Dayball, not to give him his 5th year?
I think
Good question.
I have a feeling it was. It was a make it or improve it year. If it was and by the way, they're not giving him. By the way, they're not bringing him back at $45 million without Dayball signing off. So Dayball's putting. Because trust me, Dayball may win Coach of the Year, but if Jones comes back and they crap the bed and he's 4-20, they're 4-13 next year, the Mara family ain't gonna last very long there. They ain't gonna give him. He could be pulled. The rug can be pulled under him very quickly.
He'll last longer than Joe Judge. Let's put some money on it.
For sure, yeah. Well, he already lasted longer than Joe Judge. Guys, so let's talk about it quickly. We talked about the O-line, and I want to maybe get Steve. Is there anyone who can maybe jump in at a reasonable price? We're not talking about Teron Armstead money. Is there, because we talked about Orlando Brown, that's our wishing. Is there an offensive lineman that's out there right now that's hanging around like a hanging fruit, a stout right tackle that we can go afford? Is there someone there?
Well,
Michael.
the guy you mentioned that the Chargers cut.
But
he
he's a
can
guard,
play
right? He's naturally a guard. He's played right tackle.
He's a
for-
left guard / right tackle.
How about what's your opinion on that, Michael? How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get a chance to check out. I had a couple of my right tackles that I was interested in, but they've all
Right.
signed elsewhere.
Right.
So I'm not real familiar who, kind of done the thing other than the kid from the Chargers.
Yeah. I'm not
It's
either.
not about physical talent. I want to remind G-Man just quickly.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it. You want to talk about talent? Jamarcus Russell had talent. Okay.
Yeah.
Most of the by the way, I'm not doing this. I'm not comparing them to to our quarterback. I'm talking about overall. Drew Brees, not athletic. Dan Marino, not athletic. Tom Brady, not athletic. Have you ever seen Peyton Manning run?
Hold
Let
on.
me finish. I'm going. Let me get my point across. I'm talking about athletic.
He's driving the bandwagon now.
And you can't bring Dan Marino, especially when you're bringing a Dan Marino hoodie.
He never left a
How
pocket for
in the
his life.
hell can you say that Drew Brees wasn't athletic? He played tennis.
Oh,
he could dunk a basketball.
Well, if you play
he's a
tennis,
very
you're
He
like
never
athletic
ran for his
player.
life.
He didn't have to run for his life.
Well, Dan Marino played baseball too, so he was athletic back in the day, but then his knees got to him. He was a shortstop.
This is the hardest to do Polynesian dancing. It's really hard. Okay, guys.
I'll gladly strap it up for the right tackle
Yeah,
position.
I can't even do a hula hoop. What are you
Sign
talking
me.
about?
Sign me today.
Is there a tight end you guys would be happy with that's mid-tier? That before the draft? Is there someone you guys are looking at that's more reasonable? Because the Hayden Hurst of the world are gonna
The
cost
Foster
you
Moreau guy, whatever his
Foster
name.
Moreau,
Yeah,
Dalton
that-
Schultz. Those are going to cost you a little more. But I think it's going to take at least what? It's not going to take. I think can you get someone reasonable at half the cost of
Can you get
Gesicki?
Foster at a reasonable price or no?
I think you could. But then again, I don't know his contract situation. But
And
if he's a free agent, then I think
I'll
you
be
can
looked
get
I
at
him.
never said arm. You're saying athletic. An arm is not athletic. I'm talking about athletic.
Easy breezy, easy. Simmer down.
So no, is there a tight end you guys really are looking? Because we're feeling we need to sign right tackle. We need to see. We need to sign because really right now the holes are what? Running back we have, but we're going to fill the gap. You have right tackle, you have left guard,
Tight
you have
end.
tight end,
Yeah.
But the one area that I think is really driving me nuts. Do you feel there's a trade market? Because I was looking at it when you look at the list of salaries on our team. Landry Roberts is gone. He'll go to Minnesota, go hang out with Buddy Flo. But Jerome Baker at close to $13 million.
guaranteed coming this Friday. It becomes fully guaranteed this Friday.
But have you noticed in Minnesota, by the way, how many people, Darius White, how many people count Patrick Beard, how many people want to run away from Minnesota? No one on the defense wants to stay. They must be talking to the Dolphins. I'm telling you, I have no idea what they're doing there. But all the defenders want to leave, all of them.
But Jerome Baker's contract becomes fully guaranteed this Friday if he's on the roster. So,
do you think there's a trade market? Is there a trade market for him? Is there a
Jerome Baker? Yeah, Jerome Baker.
Yeah, I think there
$12.5 million. Do you think? No, but would you get rid of him at $12.5 million?
Yeah, because if you cut him, Barry Jackson again, but he's always reading out. You there's no benefit. You would take too much of a cap hit. So
no, but do you think there's a trade partner? Would you trade him for if someone's willing to take him on for a 5th round pick? Would you get just to get him off the books?
I mean, I don't know.
What are your thoughts on Jerome Baker? Because that's an expensive salary.
You know what? Talking about Jerome Baker, and he had a pretty good year last year. He did.
But
he
is
had
he $7 million more? Is he $7 million better?
No.
Than David Long?
No.
$7 million.
The two of them could end up being a good tandem together. You know.
But he's making $7 million more.
But then again, does he improve in this system? You know, with Fangio being there, will he improve? Because I agree with Steve that I thought he had a productive year last year. You know, but in the Fangio system, does it make him even better, or does it make him dispensable?
You know what? That's a good question. And actually, we were talking about Jerome Baker last year, or years prior to that. Why didn't they utilize him the way he should? And that's rushing the passer.
Right. Right.
So can Fangio use him? My opinion, I think he can.
Right. And he didn't Fangio also say he's also trying to find guys that can do different positions, not like Flores did, but just those guys that can be interchanged. Like they were saying about Ramsey, bringing Ramsey down to the box sometimes and blitzing off the edge.
Yeah, Ramsey can play safety. Yeah. He can play cornerback. He can play, like you said, down in the box, act as a linebacker. Yeah. Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on the re-signing of Duke Riley for it's $2 million?
I was going to cover that too.
Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
Rob,
Rob, buddy.
idiotic.
Hurry up before Evan takes it
No,
from
I
you.
was just going to say, to me, it's
asked the
obviously
question.
it's another non-sexy move, but it's a solid move. He's good special teams. He's a good, like you guys were touching earlier, he's a good locker room guy from what they say.
He's
a solid player, and you
You
need
need to
solid
get-
player.
you
Everyone
need to
wants
get
all the big
G-Man on
fancy
the
high-end
Finch
toys,
bandwagon
but you need
quick.
some solid toys that aren't going to break down when the kids get bored. And so I believe that as a good signing, because not everyone, you're not going to have a roster full of Madden perfect team, every position's an all pro him and that backup. So to me, it's a good move. You need players like him, and I have no problems with bringing him back.
Yeah,
you
I
bring
agree.
back AVG?
If the price is right, but
You really
I
feel
think he's
like
going to get more playing
he
time.
regressed last year. I feel like he really regressed last year.
And he got less playing time from
He
what
got
I
less
was
playing
reading.
time
Yeah.
when they brought in Chubb and he got a lot. Yeah, he's looking. I think he's looking for another
We're Dolphin
contract
fans. We
somewhere
talk
else.
about everyone. I'm going to talk about Blake Ferguson just to piss you off.
Duke Riley is a good utility guy.
By the way, he was stout on special teams. He was very good on special teams.
And he's pretty quick. He flies around the field.
So because I think one thing we were missing last year was depth, right? We really had depth in different positions, right? So it doesn't hurt to have him as a third or fourth linebacker, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Why not?
agree.
Do you feel like Ogba still has a place on this team?
If you move
know
him
what I
into the inside.
Michael, how does he fit?
That's what I was trying to figure out. Like, does he still have a spot with all these other guys coming in? I don't know. Is he one that? I mean, I would like, because when he plays, he's good, right? Like that's what I thought. I thought he was a little more expensive than what we've been bringing in lately.
So what's
what? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say. So what do we do? Trade him?
Clayton.
If you get a trade partner, if somebody will trade,
you would have to, but that's it. I was hoping maybe the Bears would want him because they spent all their money now. They were going crazy in the free agency. So because some people had linked Ogba to the Bears, like, oh, they got a lot and they have to spend money, and he would be, maybe they would throw as a late round pick just to take him off the books for us. But now they went and got Trayman Edmonds, TJ Edwards, and got their offensive line. They were just going, they were having fun.
That's a lot of money on that defensive line, man.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It is,
Ogba, and then you gotta pay Wilkins if you're not gonna trade him. Or
right.
I think that was like a panic move last year, right before the start. Let's re-up him, or we don't want him to lose him in free agency.
Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips,
right?
Zach Sealer.
Hey, no one can rip out Jason Sanders more than me, G-Man. By the way, G-Man, you are 100% welcome on the bandwagon next year. You can find me at Finn's Paws on Twitter. And I just drop me a line. Come on, join the show. We can have some fun together, you, me, and Michael next week. What do you guys?
Go ahead, Michael. Michael's still talking.
Evan, if you don't shut your Canadian mouth, talk for a second.
Oh boy!
But again, so like you bring up that with the defensive line. Which one of those guys do you want to lose? If you have to lose one, who do you want to lose?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And Ogba, I feel, would be the odd man out in that situation, just with the performance of the other ones.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree. It's a good point. It depends on what you want to do,
Right.
So, yeah, you're right.
That's because I feel right now like we have a lot of expensive players. Like you look at what we've done very smartly this year, and we've been smart with our signings that are restructuring. To the Ogba re-signing, the Cedric Wilson contract. Those are areas where I think could they maybe package something in the draft? Do you think that's where their only options are going to be? Like maybe something happens on draft day that they're going to be stuck with these guys till probably May.
I mean, it's possible. It's very. I mean, you know how many times do we see draft day trades with people just or day 2 or day 3 and like, oh well, the Dolphins have traded so and so for 2 7th round picks.
Yeah.
It's a long off season. We got a long off season here. There's a lot can happen yet.
Yeah.
The official free agent hasn't even started yet.
Exactly.
We're all like going crazy, but tomorrow is really the official start of the free agency period. So it's just like there's a lot to be done, and sometimes you get good deals, in the bargains bin after all the big shiny objects have been bought.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
So there could be some good moves.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, the one other thing I was going to mention. What are your guys' thoughts? Like I mentioned this right. I think during the breaking news show, or I think it was on the clock. The Jets had released, and it just caught my eye just because of the type of position he plays. Was Braxton Berrios, who was a very great returner for the Jets last year.
Steve likes him. You just picked one of Steve's guys.
Like, what are your thoughts, Steve? Like, do you feel like we need to get a stout returner that can also play who can also play like it's sort of like a Jakeem? Like we're missing that Jakeem Grant on our team. We can't have, because one thing that really bothered me last year, and I think it affected us a lot. Well, and maybe Michael go is the fact that every team knew that you don't have to kick it out of the end zone. Kick it because we're not going to get any return game. Our best return was our playoff game.
Right.
So don't you feel we need to get that dual threat, and it can't be like when you have your safety Javon Holland returning kicks for you, or your running back and Raheem Mostert? That's not a recipe for a championship team. Like Kadarius Toney showed you that you have to have a dual threat, but he's not going to be your number 1 or number 2 receiver. He's your number 3.
Right.
So what are your thoughts, Michael, Rob, on Steve, on that area? Because they're leaving Danny Crossman there. I think they're really missing that stout returner. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think we could use. I like Berrios. He'd be a little, good little slot receiver, But to be quite frank with you, yeah, he would probably be like a 5th or 6th receiver. But to be quite frank with you, he's small guy, and we got a lot of small receivers on this team, And
So would you want him over Trent Sherfield, or would you want to bring back?
No, I'd rather bring back Trent Sherfield. That's what I'm saying. Trent Sherfield's a lot bigger than he is.
Do you remember that drop in the end zone?
Yeah, hey, it happens, right?
Hey,
everybody has a bad game.
How about Craycraft?
I like Craycraft too.
Yeah,
I like Craycraft.
There's a couple of those little speed demon running backs that are probably going to be late round or free agent, undrafted free agents.
Okay.
I would be like, I'm bringing you on this team to be a returner. So figure it out.
Yeah.
You're fast as hell, and you're going to return punts and return kicks, and that's how you're going to get started.
Man, I thought we had a guy last year. We had what was his name? Deadman. Remember him from Canada? I think he came from
Devon Deadman or something like that.
Devon Deadman or something like that. He was a really good return specialist in Canada. I don't know what happened.
He got cut.
Yeah. He didn't do much.
They need someone. They can't just expect him to return kicks. They expect
that's what it was. He probably wasn't.
He can't play receiver. They can't just have a. They're not going to give up a roster.
That's why I like Berrios. He can catch. He's a good little quick receiver, but I don't know.
By the way, you like Anthony's question? I guess we can bring it up because do you guys have any concerns for the Dolphins about the fact that likely at 1:00 tomorrow he'll announce the fact that he's going to the Pukey Jets? Like, do you have any concern as a Dolphins fan that the Jets are getting him? Does it make you nervous at all?
Yes.
Nope.
Makes me nervous.
Why does it make you? Why doesn't it make you nervous, Michael? And why does it make you nervous, Steve? And why is Rob not giving an answer?
No, I'm going to tell you.
Go ahead.
It makes me upset. Yeah, because the Jets are going to be a good team, and but I can see where Michael's coming from too, because you're going to face good quarterbacks no matter what, and to beat good teams, you got to be a good team. So,
if you put it in that perspective, you're correct, Rob. I agree with you 100%. Yeah. But we're talking about the Miami Dolphins here.
Yeah.
So I would have to say that Aaron Rodgers is gonna be a good acquisition for the New York Jets. He really is. And I know everybody's talking about he's an old guy and this and that and blah blah blah, and he's holding the Jets hostage and everything. Come Sunday, when he comes down to play Miami, or we go up there into the Jets, then you tell me about it.
He came into South Florida this past year and beat the Dolphins.
There you go.
Of course, that's the game that Tua had concussion.
It's great to talk about him in the offseason when we're not playing against him, but when we got to go up against him, it's a whole different.
I know, of course, it makes me worried, and I guarantee you, national pundits of we predicted for 3rd place. If that, not saying that's where we were finished.
Oh, that's guaranteed. That's a guarantee.
We're going to be predicted for
3rd place. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be predicted for 3rd place going into all the predictions from all the pros.
No problem.
Yeah, exactly. So for sure, though,
give them writing on the wall. Look, the one thing for me about that game, by the way, just to mention, they didn't beat us. We lost that game. Like, we gave away that game. That was our game. What was I was just reading here? Nervous.
Good
just
point,
roster.
Santos. We do beat ourselves.
But one interesting point someone made on Twitter before, which is funny. Last year, the Packers talked about how Rodgers had no one to throw to. But now he wants the same people in Lazard, Cobb, and Mercedes Lewis to come join him in New York.
But
So
man,
he
him
wants the
throwing
same
to
players not
Garrett
throw to-
Wilson's
But
scary,
here's the
man.
thing. Here's the thing. In the beginning of the year, you got to remember Lazard was a rookie, right?
No.
Wasn't he a rookie
No, he's
last
been
year?
around a
Lazard's
while.
not
He's
Lazard.
been-
That was
Which one-
Christian
which was
Watson.
the-
Watson,
Oh yeah,
Wilson.
Watson. But a lot of these guys he hadn't played with, right? Last year in the beginning.
But he played with Lazard
he
and
couldn't
Cobb.
get it. He couldn't get a
he's
connection
played
with.
with Lazard a little bit.
But as you can see, when he played against
You're welcome,
Miami,
John.
those dimes he was throwing, and he had.
But also-
sure, he didn't have a good year.
Unfortunately, the Jets have a good team. I mean, I hate
They
to say
do,
it, but they
all
have a
around.
good roster. So
All around.
Go, Michael.
Well, I mean, we keep talking about everybody else's good team. Like
I know.
I feel like we're better right now this year than we were last year. It's
oh,
strictly
I
off the
agree.
def-
We're good
Off
too.
the defensive coordinator and the defensive guys that we've picked up alone. Like you can
Right.
bring in Rodgers, but you still have, X on the backside, and now you got Ramsey on the backside, and some linebacker pieces, and I mean it's we will be concerned about him.
Well,
two
the
games that he
AFC
plays
East
us.
should be very competitive. It's
Oh,
gonna be
yeah.
It's going to be a very tough division.
Is Bill Belichick going to be okay being in last place this year?
Yeah.
Well, they're doing nothing. They're doing nothing. By the way, guys, because I think the one deficiency we had more than anything else on our O-line, who only gave up toward the second, 29th and giving up pressures. They were fine last year in terms of that. Was the fact that we could not get off the field on third down. I'm sure a lot of us were sitting there most of those games. I didn't miss 1 minute of the game. Go ahead.
Can I stop you for a second? Keep
Go ahead.
that thought. G-Man, do you have anything positive to say about the Miami Dolphins?
Anything.
Anything?
Anything.
I have a feeling G-Man is Brett Lagasse in disguise.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty bad. I'm just wondering if he
Yeah.
has anything positive. to
Well, I
say.
know G-Man would be happy if the Dolphins took Kenny McIntosh. He loves himself some Kenny Mac. He comes on my show all the time saying, Kenny McIntosh. So I think that would make him happy maybe for 10 minutes if the Dolphins took him, right, G-Man?
I
So-
agree with G-Man a lot of the time, but I'm just wondering if because I'm saying, man, when he says those things, do I sound like that sometimes?
Yes, you do, Steve. Yes, you do. But G-Man means well. Though. He's a Dolphin fan. He remembers the AJ
we're all
days
Dolphin
and all
fans.
That. Yeah.
Like I say, we may not agree on everything Dolphins, but one thing we can agree on, we're 100% Dolphins.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So
This is true.
So my point was last year, my number one bone of contention overall was the fact that when it was 3rd 17, 3rd and 18, even if it was 3rd and 7, even in a regular 3 and out, where it would be 3rd and 9, 1st and 10, 2nd and 9, 3rd and 7, first down. So the team was always great on 1st and 2nd down. It was not getting off the field. It was just
Right.
never getting off the field and extending the play.
Good night, Cap.
I think I mentioned the point guys. Remember this? I mentioned this on one of the post game shows. I think it was at the 10th. I think it was at the 9th or 10th game of the season. It was only halfway through the season, and and Michael, you weren't on the third network yet. But the defense had spent more than one game more than the offense on the field. There's no way that script is going to be repeated. So
Right.
we and think about this. That was when we were 8-3.
Yep.
Remember that the defense had still spent. So imagine with this defense going into next year with the offensive firepower we will still have, and we're still going to boost it up a little bit. Shouldn't that still give us like a real positive framework for next year that we're improving the area? Well, yes, we still have to improve little areas, but
Right.
those areas on the offense did not cause us to lose games in the end. Our defense kept us in it, but they were always the offense always had to supplement the defense in most games. So shouldn't we be really positive about the fact that we're adding pieces to our defense and that we should be less concerned because Fangio's defense is not going to be struggling to get off the field?
I agree. I that was my concern last year with our defense. Like, they're giving up. We can never get off the field, and so if you can't get off the field, like you get really nervous and you don't feel good about late in games. Where if you have a defense that's a little more conservative, isn't blitzing all the time, and they're more keyed into Fangio. I think Fangio's worth at least a game or two as a defensive coordinator over what we had last year. So, I think that helps. The position area that scares me is special teams. I don't have faith in special teams right now, and I haven't seen anything to go, hey, that's that's going to be better this year. But that's my one area that I would love, except again in the Bills game, the playoff game, when Wilson had the big return or whatever it was that kept us in the game. You always love the short yardage field, so I would like to see something happen there. But
no,
what are
I
your
agree.
thoughts, Rob and Steve, on both?
As far as the defense and offense,
Boosting it up because of what they did last season.
there was no balance. We didn't complement each other on defense and offense. And I think with the hiring of Fangio, I think that's going to be fixed. I really do. I think like Michael said, Fangio is going to get us off the field a lot sooner. And the offense is going to be able to do what they do.
Yeah. And I know someone brought up the defense was on the field too much. Evan pointed that out, but towards the end of the year, it did get a little better. But I know at one point in the season, it's like the defense has played like a whole extra game, but then we flipped the switch a little bit towards the end of the season. So that got a little bit better. So, but yeah, obviously, if you can get an offense that can control the ball, that's going to help your defense.
What was it?
And if you get defense that creates turnovers, that's going to help. That's why the term complementary football becomes a thing. So this is what we need, complementary football.
Go ahead, Michael.
Why was the defense so much better at home than away?
Now that was strange. That is.
I think they zero blitzed. They were zero blitzing a lot more on the road than they were at home.
Yeah, that's true.
They were blitzing a ton on the road. But by the way, the one difference also, I think it's going to be hilarious. You noticed midway through the season, McDaniel started to grow some gonads, and he'd walk up to his other coaches saying, "What the F you're doing?"
Yeah.
Trust me, McDaniel is going to be afraid of Fangio, not the other way around. He ain't going up to Fangio saying, "What the F you're doing?" He's going to go to Fangio and go, "Help me, please. Help me, please."
That's a good point.
What are you doing?
Yeah, that's a good point, Evan. Yeah. Fangio's going to be a big asset to
He's
Mike
his mentor
McDaniel.
this year. He's his mentor this year.
Yeah, he's his mentor. And not only that, but McDaniel doesn't have to worry about the defense at all. He doesn't have to, you know what I mean? He just has to oversee it, make things, they're getting stuff in place. But I mean, not like last year,
If I'm Mike McDaniel, at some point during the offseason here, I'm having several days where we just sit down, Fangio and I, and we talk about game situations and when to take timeouts, when not to take timeouts.
He is working on that. McDaniel has self-acknowledged that he had problems with and he said it basically comes to getting the plays in faster as far as play clock violations. And then he says he knows he has listened.
Have you guys ever? I know Michael. Tell me how hard. I want to get me your perspective, being involved as a football coach and all that. How complicated is it for a quarterback? And what can we do to maybe help the young quarterbacks like a Skylar Thompson? It's an interesting question. I've listened to Mike's and I've heard plays get in. It's a very complicated system for a young quarterback to process. It's a lot of terminology. So how do you dumb it down for a quarterback to get those plays in when you have a very, very complicated scheme like McDaniel's?
Well, the situation is like when we coach. Is your starter gets 80% of the reps and your backup gets 20% of the reps. Guess how many your third string's taken? Not very many. So and that was at the game towards the end, or the Buffalo game, where Skylar Thompson's in there and he's trying to call the play and he's not getting it in on time. That's because, he might have had all those reps for a week and a half, whereas, Tua or Teddy were there getting all the reps and getting all the play calls. He still needs to know the playbook and know what's being called. But sometimes, there have been situations, even on the level that I coach, that, you ask the ref what down the box next to you will say it's third down, and the clock will say, the scoreboard will say it's fourth down, and you call the play and you look at the box and you're like, well, I thought the box said it's third down. He's like, then the official says, no, it's fourth down. And then you're, trying to take another timeout. But if you've already taken one, now you can't take back-to-back timeouts, to be able to fix it. So it is, you've got to be aware in all situations. So to me, that was a rookie coach making a rookie mistake and needing to know that ahead of time.
Now, wasn't that rule changed in the NFL recently, in the last year or two, as far as timeouts and if the referee says if the referee on the field says it's 4th down or 3rd down or whatever it is, and then the coach says, okay, well, it's 3rd or 4th down, but then the referee comes back, then the clock says something different.
Right. It may be.
So,
I don't know the rule book as
I
much.
think
as I should in the
that was
NFL,
just
so.
confusing to me. I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah.
But
Because
anyway.
there's so much going on the field.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine. Yeah. So Dolphin Anty, or not Dolphin Anty, Crazy Anty, he had a question. He said, or not a question. He made a comment. McD caused us a few games. Do you all agree on that?
I do. I think there was some. I think he did cost us a game or two, right? If he gets the play calls in like he's supposed to in the playoff game against Buffalo, there's a possibility there that we win it. Again, like, am I upset with him? No, it's him as a true first year person being a head coach, but also calling plays. In my opinion, the head coaches that are more successful are going to be the ones that are going to have a designated offensive coordinator that they can, kind of the way that Andy Reid had what's his name that just went to Washington, right, Bieniemy. So Bieniemy's giving him calls that he feels like he thinks are there, and then he's able to make a call from there. Whereas you're the main guy making calls, and you're also trying to keep the game management right. Those are things where I feel like Fangio is going to be able to help him. Fangio is not just going to sit back and just worry about the defense. He's going to be in his ear. Hey, you've got 10 seconds to get this play in.
By the way, G-Man finally, there's one thing about G-Man and I finally agree on. First thing, because no one was harder on McDaniel in that playoff game than me. Holy crap.
Yeah, that's true.
By the way, no, his weak, by the way, we'll say that Tua's weakest game, even San Francisco was bad, was LA. The LA game was very much on McDaniel. Like, to keep on throwing it up the middle, never throwing it sideline to sideline, not adjusting to the game, heading into the second half, that's a McDaniel adjustment. But like I said, he has to reread the plays, right? Like, he has to be willing to not be a prisoner of the running game, and he has to realize that. But the only way you're going to do that.
How about in the Buffalo game where Mostert is 10 yards,
7 yards a carry?
Yeah, 7 yards run, and we don't run that much. Like, at that point, they can't stop him, so continue to run the ball.
Yeah.
We don't have to put up 41 this game. Let's just run the ball and get what scores we can. Hopefully the defense holds up. Those are type things where if the running game's working, you got to roll with it.
Yeah, I agree. Good point.
I was going to ask Rob this question, and Steve. That's where I was most disappointed in Alec Ingold, because I felt that Alec Ingold didn't give McDaniel and the running game the confidence, because you're supposed to be a blocker, and he really struggled as a blocker, and so did Smythe. Where if it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, that's why I understand Steve and why Bobby want to go get a Derrick Henry, because if your fullback's not doing the job of giving you that extra push, then what's he there for?
Yeah. Good point. And I got it here. And I just had a thought. You're right. And I just had a thought too. If we did get Derrick Henry, right? A big back like that, bell cow back, would McDaniel utilize his strengths? Or do you think they would continue on 60-40 pass?
Well,
he'll probably be conflicted because he would have a whole bunch of mega stars to try to get the ball too. So
that's where McDaniels also said, like, that's when you have to design your offense around what the strengths are. So now you've got a strong running game and the passing game. Now we can be more balanced. And then really it comes down to the fourth quarter. Now we don't have to throw the ball. We've got a 15, 20-point lead. Now we can just lean on Derrick Henry to close this thing out. And you know what I'm saying? So that is where you definitely, I think he would help, is in a fourth quarter where you can rely on him to, just keep banging it in there. So
in theory, I agree with you in theory, but would he do that? Would he just?
Well,
would he do that? That's the question.
He said that, good coaches are able to make those adjustments. You would think that he would, but again,
he says he's learned from some of his mistakes. So he says, so
we'll
I believe when he says that. He's a smart enough guy. He probably got caught up in the rookie moment a couple times.
Sometimes I think he's too smart for his own britches.
Yeah. So
that's what I think. He He overanalyzes everything.
Leader of the bandwagon was ripping into shreds for
No,
weeks.
and I agree with you 100%, Evan. You're right.
You know, like, because I understand it's rookie coaches, but that's why we always maybe wanted a veteran coach, because you got star players like Armstead,
Right.
and Hill to develop and to go far. So it was
Look at old Michael. Michael looks like he's about ready to fall asleep, man. He looks so comfortable, nice and cozy.
I'm chilling.
He's relaxing.
Hey, are you in the North Carolina area?
I am in North Carolina.
Yeah, I used to
Yeah,
live in
where in
North
Florida
I
are
used
you?
to
I've
live in
never
North
asked that.
Carolina.
I'm in
Where at?
Pembroke Pines,
I was at
Pines,
Fort Bragg.
Florida. I'm in Pembroke Pines, Florida.
Yeah.
I'm not that far from you.
Yeah, Pembroke Pines, Florida. Nice.
So how far is Hard Rock from where you are? You're about,
real close. I mean, real like.
By the way, Hallandale Beach Boulevard, buddy.
Oh, okay. Oh, that was. I knew that area during my working career. Very near that area.
Hialeah, baby, Hialeah.
Oh, I knew two other hombres in Hialeah. Oh Jesus. My favorite's this guy. He installs blinds. Alex Achiska. What a great guy that guy is.
Oh, yeah,
the other
I know
guy who
that
lives
guy
in East 10th Street, Ralphie Boy. Why did Ralphie Boy come on our show? I'm really insulted.
Just right near me. Very near me, G-Man. Acura Pembroke Pines is right near me.
Pines.
So,
yeah,
that's funny. I don't have an Acura, but I know
doesn't
right
Big
where
O
it
do his
is.
show there? Doesn't Big O do his show there? I think he does.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he has.
He does.
Yeah. He used to do a show from there. Yeah.
Don't mention that name on this network.
I mean,
nobody wonder why I bring him up, because he's a two-a-near.
I know why you brought him up.
He's
Now,
on the
I
bandwagon,
mention
my
that
friend.
name on this network.
But overall,
He always used to play his false.
I watched Big O. I've watched Big O.
I know.
He
By the way,
blocked me a couple times, but I watched.
Do you guys think? Do you expect anything? What do you think the next big signing is, and when do you think it comes from the Dolphins? What do you expect, guys? Michael, like, do you expect anything to come out tomorrow?
Loaded
do you think
question.
Poyer's coming? Do you think there's a trade coming, or do you think it's going to be crickets for the next few days?
As much as I'd like it to be Poyer, it may be one of those things where they sit low for a little bit until they can find, some guys that can fill the holes and not give them all that. I think they've been very smart so far and not crazy contracts.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think they just kind of want to sit back a little bit and find out where else we can get, because I mean, we have to. When is it that you have to have all your cuts in by, or whatever that is? Like, I still think there's going to be some guys, some linemen, and maybe even some tight ends that are going to get cut in the next couple weeks. That'll be.
And even after June 1st, some people get cut because some teams wait until you can use the June 1st designation right now, but a lot of teams just actually wait until June 1st to trim the fat if they're not in a hurry to create the cap space. So, it's just bargains we had. I mean, look, even though he faded out, but Ingram came in last year. He helped the team, and he was like a last-minute signing going into the season, and he came in and was like AFC Player of the Month the first month.
He was top player for a while.
I think the second year in the offense. Let's see what he does this year.
Is he coming back?
No, he's a free agent. We might resign.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, he's free agent. Okay. And we got a lot of money, tied up at that edge position, so we have to bring back.
Would you bring back Needham?
Yes.
If healthy, yeah, of course, I like him.
He's versatile. He's very versatile. He can play safety and cornerback.
Cahill could take his now that he's
not. Why do you think they haven't brought him back yet? Because I think that's pretty. If you can get him back, they got him $2 million.
Hell, they haven't brought back a lot of folks yet. They're still working on that stuff.
We are getting stacked because I like Elijah Campbell. He's pretty good, and Cater Cahill played better. I know he had
Justin.
some moments.
What's his name? Justin. I can't remember his name. The special teamer.
Oh, Bethel.
Justin Bethel.
Bethel. Yeah. He was another good one. He played well on special teams.
Some guys play pretty well. I mean, that's one thing I have to say. We normally do okay at finding defensive backs than we do at some other positions. So. Because, I mean, I know Cater Cahill kind of fell into our lap, as we can't brag, but we did sign him, so at least you have to give him some kudos for wanting him. So, so we can do our defensive backs every so often. So that's a good thing. So let's hope that we can get some magic in that offensive line.
Wow, we're almost at an hour and a half here. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen,
time flies on the.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Please like, subscribe, share again with your family, your friends, your neighbors. We're trying to get up to 1,000. We're almost there. We need your help in that area. We appreciate you joining the show. We love the comments. We couldn't do this show without you. And you guys right here, these my brothers right here. I appreciate you as well. We couldn't put out this, put this show on the air for our for the community. So
Yeah,
you
man, it's been
guys
great.
always putting out some good content. Like I said, Evan, I always watch Finn's Bandwagon, and I know we go back and forth and stuff on the numero uno issue, but hey, that's what makes it fun, man.
That's right.
Yeah, we have Trill, but by the way, he's bringing up no. Honestly, G-Man Bandwagon next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Drop your link. At Finn's Pause on Twitter. You're coming on the show. I expect you to say, before we go, guys, we're going to sit here and wait because we're going to be huddle up and wait. G-Man, give me one thing you like about the Miami Dolphins as they are currently constructed. We're going to sit here and wait.
Come on, G-Man, you can do it. He's a regular in my show, too, so I have faith in G-Man. He can come up with something positive.
Give me something positive to go out. I need to sleep tonight with a smile. Come on, G-Man. We're waiting.
Come on, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. There's some
While
positive.
we're waiting, Michael, what do we have?
The wide receivers. There you go. He said it. The wide receivers.
All right.
Yeah.
Even Cedric Wilson. What are your? We haven't got our outline yet for Thursday yet.
Yeah.
Maybe Al Hefe will work on it after he finishes dinner tonight. What have you been researching for the draft heading into Friday's show? Have you been focused on anything yet?
Not really. Like it's been more trying to check out the just the Facebook stuff. Or not Facebook, the free agent.
I'm pretty now. I'm wrong.
Well, now that you see some free agent signings, is your target's going to change now that we got a
Well,
linebacker?
I think so. Because I was really, really keyed in on linebacker at 51, and now that we got the guy from Tennessee,
Long.
I don't.
Jr.
Yeah, I think that. I still think linebacker's a need, but not as high as it was before that. So maybe, obviously, tight end still up there.
Maybe running back.
Yeah, tight end, running back, offensive lineman. There's a couple offensive linemen that if they fell to 51, I would love to be able to grab.
Who would you grab?
The center from Minnesota.
John Michael Smith.
Michael Schmidt.
Oh, yeah.
Is an absolute
Who you can read about on DolphinsThirsty.com.
There we go.
That's one reason. I got a whole bunch I got.
See how a plan comes together?
That's right.
Yeah,
and then,
exactly.
my other one is Cody Mock.
Cody Mock, yeah.
Yeah, he's another one. He plays all 5 positions.
So
is there anyone like a defensive nose tackle that's like a strong
we need a nose
that
tackle
would be
too.
good in a fancy old defense?
I might actually research that a little bit the next couple of days and see what I can come up with in those mid to late rounds.
Yeah.
Those tackle types to see what we have out there.
Right. Hey, Michael, since you played center, you said you played little center.
Yep.
I know we presently on our team we have Connor Williams, who I like, and I wasn't really happy that they moved him to center, but he fooled me, and he's done really well at that position. He's still high snapping a little bit, but that can be fixed in the offseason. Are you opposed to like we've been talking about getting a center and moving him back to guard? Because then that would fill in a lot of pieces.
Especially if the kid from Minnesota's there. Or no, not is it Minnesota? Is he Minnesota?
Central Dakota.
Smith,
Central Dakota,
Minnesota.
right?
Yeah. If
Central Dakota. That's a reference
if he's
from.
available, I'd snag him and then bump Williams out. Connor
I heard
guard.
you, Bobby.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
I know they have him listed as a guard center, but I wrote him up as a center.
Because then if you put him to guard and you got a good solid center, then you can move. Isn't Austin Jackson a better right tackle than he is guard? Or maybe I got it backwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the better tackle, and Eichenberg's the better guard.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured.
When you're thinking about
Eichenberg, you can just put him in a
part of my research for Friday's show, guys. Part of my research for Friday's show of Dolphins Draft Talk and On the Clock is I'm pulling out the rosters of North Dakota State and South Dakota State, and we're going to be quizzing Bobby Melendez on which state which Dakota the players go to. Let's see.
That's good.
All right, boys, I got to jump off. It's time for me to get my kids to bed. So I appreciate you guys hanging with me.
Now the Bills are making more money, man. They
absolutely. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it, man, brother.
Love you guys, man. Love you guys. Thank you
later, Michael. Well, Stephon Diggs this week. Now the Bills have a lot more money. They have to be up.
Yeah, but
to
they don't have that.
something.
Yeah, but there's nothing. I don't see them going crazy. Their defense is like a little bit washed. Honestly, I'm convinced they're going to take a step back.
I think they may take
Who's going to take a step
Brown.
back?
The Bills. Because
I think-
if you're every running back that goes to Buffalo goes there to die. Because as long as you have Josh Allen trying to run the ball and dominate, and they put everything through him, the running backs have no running back. Look at Cook. Look at Cook last year. Look at Singletary. Look at McCoy. Like none of them have had good seasons.
I know, but Stephon Diggs creates another $5.4 million for them. So I think they're doing that. They cleared up a whole bunch yesterday. So I don't know if they're in on Henry or Orlando Brown.
But look at this. Ken Dorsey, they did not get further with Ken Dorsey. And now they lost Leslie Frazier. They don't have a DC. Leslie Frazier is going to be a very big loss for them.
McDermott's going to take over.
But they're creating that money.
That's
for
called
something.
wishful thinking.
No, it's not.
Wishful thinking.
When you lose a
Stop it.
Coaching makes a difference.
Come on.
Coaching makes a difference.
Okay, all right.
But we'll see.
Yes.
So, but they're freeing up that money.
Go eat a Smartie. Go eat a Smartie.
What would you bet, Bobby? What do you think Buffalo's making the money for? One of those running backs or Orlando Brown or
Derrick Henry.
I don't know.
No chance Derrick Henry's going to Buffalo.
Stop it, Evan.
No,
yes, there is a chance. If I had to put I want Derrick Henry for Miami, but I think it's more than likely Derrick Henry goes to Buffalo if they move him, and Dalvin Cook to Miami. If that's how it plays, if you got those type backs, I'm saying that's how it plays out.
Yeah.
But yes, there is a chance, and I think that's what they're looking to do. They got to re-sign their own free agents. Poyer's gone, or Poyer's on the market, and I know people are throwing it out there right now. It's all over Twitter that supposedly there's a deal between Miami and Poyer, but I think that's just people trying to throw something to the wall and hoping
Miami
it
Dolphins
sticks.
Twitter is funny because he liked a tweet today from Chad Johnson. Chad Johnson said, "Oh, the weather's nice in Miami today." Poyer liked that, and Dolphins Twitter erupted. Oh, look what he liked. I mean, like the guy's down here, man. He lives down here, so of course he's gonna like something like.
That's right,
John. He does
John.
a little trolling, you know.
That's right, John. I'm here to keep Evan in line because Michael dipped and Evan started going off the rails, talking, just saying crazy stuff.
They just lost. Okay, what was our weakest position heading into this draft? Was inside linebacker. They just lost their inside linebacker.
You don't think they're going to get
one to go sign them? Who's replacing Tremaine Edmonds on the Bills?
Let me tell you something. Do they have a question at quarterback?
Yes.
Does anybody question their quarterback?
Yes. Who was the league leader in interceptions last season?
You're full of
Who was the league leader in interceptions last season?
Full of manure.
He almost lost to the Dolphins twice. He almost lost to Skylar Thompson. Mike McDaniel gave him that game. He was awful in that playoff game. He was awful in that playoff game.
They won the playoff game. They won
it. We lost the playoff game. They didn't win it. We lost.
Whatever. They still won. Stop.
Look, Cincinnati did.
Stop it.
Has anybody been reading John Santos' comments?
Yes, he's hilarious.
The dude is hilarious, man. I can't stop.
John's awesome, dude. You can tell John's.
We got to get him on the show.
G-Man. I know. John and G-Man, they're just all over.
John, I welcome John onto the bandwagon at least 30, 40 times. They keep on ignoring me.
Yeah, they didn't want to fill their head with all that bullshit. No.
Then why am I on 4 shows a week? I'm a comedy act.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm the Rooney Rule of the network. Come on, I'm the Rooney Rule of the network.
Oh, stop.
Got a Canadian and a Jew.
Oh, yeah.
I cover multiple bases. Come on.
Well, I'm married to a Canadian so that makes my kids half Canadian too. So.
And I'm got 11% Jewish blood.
Yeah.
And the fact
2% Jew. 2%.
If you're born in by the way, if you live or born in Florida, I'll give you 25% Jew.
All right.
You know what?
It. Thanks.
Yeah, I grew up around it. I love it. But great show, guys.
Great matzo ball
great
soup.
Show.
Yeah. No, it was fun.
Yeah, it was.
And I cheated a couple times. If it looks like I was drifting off, I was going to refresh Twitter. Like I'm addicted to these.
That's what I was doing through the whole show. That's why I missed a lot of comments.
We're still live.
We're still live.
We're still live.
Guys. We're having a good time.
You haven't done it.
No. But let me ask you something. Do you feel right now? I'm not kidding. Right now, as it stands now, even with the holes, do you not feel that if these were the rosters as they stand right now, even with the hole, we're looking at the signings, who they are, do you not feel that the Dolphins have the overall strongest roster in the AFC East?
Not yet.
What? No. If you look at the roster as it stands right now, I'm not talking about Buffalo, but look at Buffalo without Tremaine Edmonds.
Not yet.
Wow. So who's
Why-
stronger, Steve, that you're so strong?
Why are you so
You
anti?
guys are forgetting, I know we're all Dolph fans and we're just looking at our team. Like we talk about, well, Kristen Wilkins,
stop
he's
with
an
how many
elite
games
player.
he's played.
But then you go ask folks in other fan bases, they don't know who the hell Kristen Wilkins is.
Let me
Well,
just
That's what I'm
say,
saying. We're
let
so
me-
focused on our own
Listen,
team that
yeah, I
you forget
know.
other teams are building too.
Like, he's just asking
Yeah.
on paper, not like if they took the field.
No, we're not yet.
Okay. No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But I think we've closed the gap on paper. Now, whether do we
on
put it
paper,
the
we
field?
have, yes.
Yes, on
Okay,
paper.
I'll go with you. Fair enough. On paper, I agree.
But
Yeah,
but listen, this is the good thing about what the Dolphins have done. Okay, they got David Long, a linebacker. That was a need. They re-signed their 2 running backs, which helps them and gives them the luxury to not have to chase a back. They could sit pretty, wait it out, let the price drop on a Dalvin Cook or a Henry or whomever, and then maybe they could go get a guy or draft a guy. They go get the corner. They get Jalen Ramsey. The Dolphins have filled some needs. They still have some holes left. A tight end, offensive line, maybe a safety unless they get Poyer. But the Dolphins have done it. But this is the thing. On paper, it's nice. The big names like Jalen Ramsey, that's sexy. Everybody jumps up and says, oh, my God. But there's still a lot of work to be done.
Oh, no,
That's why the people say, no, there's like, just like we're going to go on people that say, oh, Super Bowl. It's like, oh, come on, wait it out. The same people are saying, oh, the offseason sucks. Look at all this. And it's like, dude, let it play out.
Right.
Before we say it's great or it sucked or whatever, let it play out.
Let it play out. I would say we're early. I mean, the official free agent hasn't even started until tomorrow. It's
That's true.
This just let it play out, and then we can add additions. Like I say, Ingram came in last year and was a big contributor to the team, and no one even had him on until the last week before the season started. So you never know. So I think we're in good position now, and I do believe that on paper we've gotten better. But yes, we know many years of winning the off season doesn't elate to winning playoff games, unfortunately.
And we said the same thing last year.
I know.
On
That's
paper.
what I'm saying. I'm a
On
realist.
paper.
I
We
know.
got a great offense.
But
We got a
can I
great
just
team
say,
on paper.
but Steve, let me just say
I'm
this.
sorry, man. I just don't.
The
I'm not going to
offseason,
buy into
I
that.
get it. You're right.
Change
And
the
you know what?
logo
You
and he's
shouldn't.
back to the
You
old
shouldn't.
Steve.
No, but you shouldn't buy into it until the end of the offseason. Let's see how it plays out, and then let's revisit it. It's the start. But are you happy with the start so far of what
Yes.
they've done? That's
Yes.
what's important.
Yes.
And then that's what matters. But it doesn't mean like to go on Evan's side and mean, oh, we're gonna go do it all. Or it doesn't mean on like a Brett Legassi side saying, oh, we can do better. Let's let it play out. As the famous thing I said since the beginning, is the job finished? Kobe Bryant, may he rest in peace. Is the job finished? Job's not finished. Let's see what happens.
48 hours.
No, I agree.
No, you well said. I mean, that's it. I mean,
Yeah,
yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Very,
We'll
very
see.
good.
And that's how I feel. So I'm a little
I
biased.
think,
in
honestly,
saying-
the one thing I will give
Oh,
credit to the Dolphins overall, guys, unlike they have been very smart in terms of the restructuring.
Yeah.
Oh, Christian, every day there was like, oh, guys, I want to make it very clear to G-Man. Honestly, I personally think, and maybe Bobby, you can attest to this, Chris Greer is a yes man. He does other people's bidding. These are Mike McDaniel and Vic Fangio just as much as it is Chris Greer.
Yes, but that falls on
Sure.
him because he's the general manager that Ross.
That's
has.
right.
So,
100%.
yeah.
But also, there's Brandon Shore, Stephen Ross. Everyone's involved.
Scouting.
And Brandon Shore is not like getting, Brandon Shore is not getting, a lot of people are praising Chris Greer for these moves. And, Jalen Ramsey made that contract restructure today that freed up a lot of cap space still. But that falls on Stephen Ross with opening up his checkbook. That falls on Brandon Shore for making the other contracts, the Tyreek Hills and the Bradley Chubbs or whatever, those contracts that you're able to restructure. That's Shore. You got to give Shore credit. You got to give Stephen Ross credit.
No, I know.
It's not just Chris Greer.
Yeah.
No.
It's like the James Bond of GMs.
Since Bobby's has joined us, Bobby, we're going to give you the opportunity to give us a rundown of the rest of the week.
Man, put him on the spot on
yeah.
his own network.
I'm saying.
What do we have to
We'll
look
kick him
forward
out
to
for
for the rest of the week on the Fitstock Sports
Well,
Network?
tomorrow we got on the Fitstock Sports Network. If you're into, basketball or Miami Heat. It's Miami Heat and NBA. You could turn into Fast Break at 8 a.m. East or 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. And then, of course, afterwards, if you're into professional wrestling, we got No Holds Barred, which is something, Rob's now back into wrestling. Evan's into wrestling.
I did.
Yeah.
Me and my youngest son started watching it again.
Wrestling is starting to get fun again. Go ahead.
Real quick before I forget, do you think Cody Rhodes is going to win it all? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that the part dive into another subject, but yes, I do. And actually, he's doing really good as a baby face. And it's just too. I would rather them shock everybody, have Roman Reigns win, and then have Jey Uso pull it out. I think that's a great storyline. If you go back and from the beginning when they were in the COVID lockdown, Jey Uso. It would just be very cool if he just turned.
I think Jey Uso. Right now the plan is night one to have the Usos against Owens and
yes,
Zayn.
Yes.
That's what's
but you see, that's the problem. Everybody knows that. That's the problem. To me, I would rather them shock the world and just flip the script. But so far, they've been going by the script.
I think people are getting tired of Roman Reigns winning, from what I was reading, since I'm trying to get caught up.
Well, I think they're more tired of the fact that it's not winning clean. They keep having people interfere and all that. If you want to make him a dominant champion, which he's done an amazing job, maybe the best heel in professional wrestling, you should let him win clean. But so far, they got to give him a break. Let the title come off of him. Let Cody Rhodes do it. We'll see how Cody Rhodes does with the title. Is he as strong as Roman Reigns? We'll see. So that could be talked about tomorrow night on No Holds Barred.
Get off subject. I don't know wrestling too much. I'm just learning on it.
No, you're good.
I'm
happy to talk about it for sure. That's at 9:00 tomorrow night. And then at Thursday, we got Huddle Up and Wait with Brett and Dave. They talk NFL around the league. Evan loves them. And then Friday, the draft show. Sorry, I'm so tired.
What do we have to preview?
Friday,
Give us a preview because you haven't sent me my outline yet.
Well, I was working on it today. Well, we're going to talk about the updated draft picks for Miami. It's now 238, 197, 51, and 84. 77 is gone. So we're going to talk about that. We are going to do some live drafts, and we're with the Dolphins, everyone's going to do their own individual draft pick or their own individual drafts for the Dolphins. Brett Legassi, if he's on, he's going to preview. Stop it, G-Man. He's going to preview Deuce Vaughn, the running back out of Kansas State, and gosh, who was it? Oh, Tucker Kraft.
Hey, my buddy.
I'm gonna Michael. I'm gonna have Michael go ahead and dive into him, and we're going to talk a little bit about Tucker Kraft because, again, I think with the moves that's been made, tight end is on the top of the list now for Miami. And then, of course, we're going to just go over the recent news and rumors for the draft. So that's Friday night at 8:00 Eastern. It's a lot of fun, a lot of insight, great group of guys. Wingate, Kimmel, Evan, Michael, myself, Stager, this great group of guys who love talking football, love talking draft, and I think I've learned a lot from it so far. Saturday, Fins Talk today with Fish Tank Hank and myself. Sunday, Josh Kimmel, and Once Upon a Sunday for fantasy football. So that's your week right now. That's what's going on.
Your memory's a lot better than mine, rattling all that stuff.
I'm pretty good.
That's like
when you create all the episodes, Rob, a bit, brother. We got to create these episodes over and over and over again. It becomes ingrained in your head. I just got to get there.
Yeah.
But we're doing fun.
We're having fun. Everything's growing on the network. So anyone ever have final thoughts on the free agency so far? Final thoughts, Steve?
I think it's
I like I said, I don't think we're there yet on paper, as you all said. I'm pretty happy with it right now. I am.
Welcome.
I can't complain.
Welcome,
Papa Hog.
I like it overall so far. Like I say, it's that other than the Ramsey move, there was no big sexy move, that's going to make the papers fly off the shelves. But, David Long, if healthy, I hate that term in Dolphin land, but he's a good, solid pickup at a good price. Bringing back your running backs doesn't necessarily mean you can't get another running back because there's spots that we don't have filled up, like Gaskins hasn't been returned. So you got a running back spot that was on the active roster still available. So there are room to bring back other positions. And tight end worries me a little bit because I know Durham Smite and Connor, yeah. Connor, Tanner.
So
That's it. Those are the only two we have. But
Thanks, Papa.
to me, at least we have a couple. So you could play a football game basically now. And a couple of weeks ago, we couldn't even play a football game. We didn't even have a running back on the team.
G-Man, you're asking the question, guys. Your final thought of the Dolphins going to win Super Bowl or die? I already have a bet with somebody between the next 2 years, Lombardi Trophy, party in Hialeah.
Oh my
I
goodness!
guarantee
There you go.
it. I guarantee it.
With the way the team is going, with the signings that they're having, with
Zero
or without, and that goes with that. And that goes with the 2 years. Next year with Tua, the year after Tua doesn't go with another guy. Within the next 2 years, the Dolphins, I believe, will be in the game. Will be in the Super Bowl.
Tyreek
Wow,
Hill
so
is
I'll be
gonna
going
ball out.
super positive. And you know me, I try to be positive. I just hope because I've been
I'm on the
too long-
bandwagon.
Big heck, welcome.
I
I appreciate
way
it.
too long for me.
But
not
let me
to
just
support
say-
all of you guys. So I agree.
No,
Wait,
for
what's
sure. Let me
this?
just
They
say
will
here.
win it the year after I die, I think he said, or something.
Oh,
That's like G-Man.
G-Man, my gosh. Let me just say, first off, big heck in the house. Thank you for watching. Papa Hog said, John says, don't forget Hank and his lovely wife. Yes. So that's Finn's Table
I'm
Talk.
back in the
There are
wheel,
two-
Benny. I'm back in the wheel.
Yeah. Let me just say, those Finn's Table Talk and the Dolphins Daily are friends of the show. They got that. Dolphins Daily is Rob Mosley every day, every morning, 9 o'clock. No, is it 9 o'clock
10
Eastern? 10
a.m.
o'clock. 10
Eastern
o'clock
Standard
Eastern.
Time.
9 o'clock for me. Tune in every morning, talking Dolphins, talking draft, awesome stuff. That friend of the show, supporter of the show, awesome. And then Hank has his own show on his own channel on Finn's Table Talk. So yes, that's Sunday morning, very early, 8 a.m. So if you're getting your morning coffee, you can tune into him. But no, I'm happy with the free agency so far. Again, I think it's filling up holes. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I mean, there've been nice moves, but I think so far it's been filling up the holes because I would love to go into the draft, and I know people want to make fun of the draft picks, but we got some good picks. The 51st pick, the 84th pick, and then you got those two other picks. But I think Miami could move down and gain some picks, or a couple picks, or one or two.
Yeah.
But if Miami could go into the draft with no needs, or as less needs as possible, they could go best player available, and that's the best case scenario
that's
for
what
Miami.
we want. That's what we want.
No, I agree.
Yes, sir.
And yes, G-Man, we all feel you as longtime suffering Dolphins. We feel you, G-Man. But I figure at this, if you don't have hope now, what's the point of watching? Because then during the season, they start breaking. You might as well have some hope in the offseason, at least as a Dolphin fan. That's how I roll. So,
Honestly, if you're not going to be a fan of your team, and you're not going to be hoping for the best for your team, and you're only going to look for the holes on your team, you're not going to enjoy the season. You're not going to enjoy the offseason. You could be realistic. You can have some negativity, but in the end, like Steve always says, we're all Dolphins. We're all this number one focus. We care about this team. It's about the fandom. That's why we built this network. We appreciate everyone for being in here, because you want to know what? A year ago, like I've said this so many times, but it's like if it wasn't for this, it's like therapy for Rob, for myself, for Steve. Yeah. We were just guys just on Twitter chatting a little bit. My first show I ever watched, guys, was this ugly hombre wearing blue ruffles. This ugly hombre wearing blue ruffles. And now he's sleeping. Guys, I don't know, guys. It's just a pleasure to be with all of you. You know, the gringo over there. Guys, I really appreciate it, guys. Any other final words?
We ran late thanks to Bobby.
Guys, do we all do it together, guys? Do we do this together?
Dolphins
number
1,
2, 3, guys.
G-Man, Dolphins number 1. Come on, G-Man, Dolphins number 1.